It's okay to stumble. It's okay to lose your footing. It's okay to make mistakes because even some of my speeches aren't perfect. And I think the best thing to do after you've done that is to look at the recovery process. So let's say you have forgotten this whole paragraph. You can either go back, sit down on your seat, and just pretend like the whole thing never happened, or you can stand up and try to do an impromptu speech. And I know that sounds daunting, but I think that that's the whole process, and you are going to be making mistakes, but you're going to learn so much from them. So I think that's one of the main things when it comes to public speaking, that it's not perfect and that there's always room for improvements. And another thing that I would suggest is to pause, because you need to give time to others to fully hear what you're saying and to absorb that and to dwell on that. So I know that humans, in a sense, are scared of silence, but it's important to have those pauses because that's what makes a speech truly impactful. And another thing is hand gestures and that emotive language. And one thing I would suggest is try to make your speech sort of out of the box and not one of those typical speeches and those typical formats, because that's what an audience is looking for, and that's how they're going to have your speech. That's how your speech is going to stand out from everyone else's. And also, one last thing is to not fidget, because I know it's hard. Like, I do it all the time, but I think fidgeting sort of just it sort of hinders the quality of the speech, and it makes the audience can tell that you're a bit nervous and that you might not want to do this. Use eye contact, because when you're directly looking at the audience, you're sort of trying to take them on this adventure with you when you're saying your speech. So don't be afraid to directly look at them when you're saying, like, we need to do this, we can be the change makers. Uh, Another thing I would say is don't be afraid to add in some comedy. And it sort of helps you ease into saying your speech when you know that the audience has a bit of laughter, is laughing a little, or they get your joke. So another thing I would have is to keep the audience engaged is just the way you present it. So when you go up, posture is really important. Just the way you use inflection and intonation and the stresses that you give on particular words, so that emphasis. That's key. One thing that you can do beforehand is to sort of reflect and to think about, like, what sort of message do I want the audience to get from this? And when it comes to the message, like, that should be the pivotal point of the speech. So you want to sort of draw their attention onto this and try to do that effectively with all those drama techniques. So for me, it sort of depends. So when it comes to speeches and if I have prepared and everything, I'm generally not that nervous. So I'm probably not the best person to ask. I'm not saying I'm brave or anything. It's just I've just because I've done speech and drama for so long now, and presenting in front of an audience is not something that I stutter at, or I don't know what to say, like I can do it without lots of like forethought and without a lot of apprehension, but take a more calm and laid back approach, because it's not the end of the world. And even if you may be nervous, you can still do a lot of deep breathing, and there's some relaxation exercises that you can do beforehand to sort of calm those nerves, because tension when you're performing is just not ideal. um, and another thing I would suggest would be first presenting it in front of your whānau or your close friends, like people who you can actually trust. And even if you make mistakes, you know it's going to be all good. And then presenting it maybe in front of a larger group, and then moving up and up and up from there. Because if you told me right now to give a speech in front of like 5,000 people, I would be nervous. So I think it's better to start from small and then increase your crowd in a sense from that. Always prepare not months, weeks beforehand because it's not going to really stand out if you do prepare it, let's say, a week beforehand and present it actually to your drama teachers and to your English teachers and to people who might actually have a lot of passion and a lot of drive and a lot of information when it comes to this topic because they can give you a lot of suggestions and just to be open to new ideas. So you might present it in this way, whereas someone might tell you to do this. So see how you could maybe link the two together so you don't lose that authenticity that you have, but you can also take in what this person is saying, which might add that extra layer into your speech. Oh, and another thing is to always like re-edit what you are writing because your first draft copy is definitely not going to be the last one, the one that you're going to present. So it's always important to refine, to re-edit, to look back at it and be like, what can I change? I think it's going to help me in a multitude of ways. For example, in the future, I'm probably going to be in similar situations where I do have to give an interview for a job. So I think that will definitely help me there. And when it comes to just having a conversation with an unknown person, which is, again, a very daunting task, um, it just helps me so much and it gives me that self-confidence that I can speak in front of a crowd and I can voice my opinions and my concerns and I can be a beacon of justice because I think that's what conversation and communication is really about at its essence. So I think this training, even though I will be finishing my exam next year, is going to take me to many places and it's going to have a lot of ripple effects on my life. Thank you. It was absolutely amazing talking to you.